you ready?
Hello and welcome to Radical TV from a very windy Oulton Park here in the northwest of England. It's the round 2 of the Radical UK Cup and we're looking forward to two 40-minute races here today. Well, it's the second round of the UK Cup here at Oulton Park. Can you explain to me a little bit about that championship?
Yeah, the Dunlop Radical UK Cup is our endurance series here in the UK. Two 40-minute endurance races per weekend with a mandatory pit stop in the middle. It's a two-driver series, so you can have either one driver in the car who does both races, or you can have two drivers. One driver set races during the first half of the race, and then after the pit stop, the second driver sets. And
what kind of difference does that make to the race itself for the drivers?
Well, I think it makes it quite interesting because you have a lot of gentleman drivers here who will pair up with a pro driver. It means that often you'll get people out of place during a race. Maybe somebody, I mean in this case, for instance today we've had an SR3 qualify on pole, which is unusual, but then again in the wet weather can happen. It really makes it for a fascinating spectacle of racing. I mean it's sort of what gives that Le Mans experience to our Radical Championship.
Sure, and it's the SR3s and the SR8s racing in the championship in the UK Cup. You're not allowed any other types of cars. So can you explain the differences between the two cars? We've got the SR3 here that's qualified in pole.
Yeah, so we've got our pole sitting SR3 here. The UK Cup is, as you say, only eligible for SR3, SR3 RSs and SR8s. So let's just have a quick closer look at the SR3 here. Well, the SR3 is our best-selling model. We've built over 600 of these to date since 2003 when we first launched the car. This is a 2011 model SR3 RS, latest specification, uses 1500cc RPE Suzuki engine. The engine runs across the frame. That then runs through a 6-speed sequential gearbox. Obviously we put a huge number of racing components in the engine, racing pistons, etc. And then into our own design final drive. This has a limited slip differential, it's got its own oil pump, its own oil cooler, reversing gear, completely unique to Radical. That really is what sets the SR3 apart from most of the other cars on the market.
So this is Roger Bromley and Sean Balfe's SR8. Can you explain the differences in the engine compared to the SR3 here?
Yep, again a 2011 SR8 RX, so this is the new 2.7 litre RPX engine, V8 engine. It's completely our own design, it's something we're very, very proud of. About 430 horsepower, somewhere in the region, revs all the way to 11,000 RPM. Very, very powerful. Again, very compact. The whole engine only weighs about 88 kilograms. For this year also we've revised the airbox, so this is a completely new design with a greater volume. And that then drives through into a 6-speed RPE transaxle. Again, it's our own design, it's unique to Radical, this particular box.
Well, we've just run down to the assembly area from the paddock. We're going to try and grab some of the drivers before they head out on the track for the UK Cup Race 1. This is your first time out in a Radical since 2008, is that right?
Yes, that's correct,
Yeah.
yes.
How comes? Where have you been?
I've been doing some endurance racing in the Speed Series and also some historic racing in a historic F1 1983 Tyrrell.
Oh, wow. So how is this going to compare to that kind of racing that you've been doing?
I actually think this is closer and tougher racing. The historic stuff is just awesome, but I think we all take care of the cars a little bit more and we're very conscious of the investment.
Okay, Gary, so you're out first in your SR3. You bought it last year. How's it been going so far with your racing?
Well, I've done very little so far. This is I think the third race that we've had in about a year, so a bit rusty. Bit old, bit rusty.
What do you think are going to be your main challenges out on the track today here at Oulton Park?
I think just getting the car working the way we want it to, because it's been wet and then dry and then wet and then dry. We're doing the other race as well today and we had massive understeer about half an hour ago, so I'm hoping we've sorted that out, otherwise it might be quite difficult. And with these cars, they're so quick, you just need the seat time to get your head round the speed because it defies what you should be doing.
And how do you find the track?
Yeah, lovely. It's the first time I've been here as well, so it's a bit of a challenge.
So Andrew, you're racing here today with your brother and you're out first on the track for race 1. How did you qualify?
Not too bad. I think we were 4th in class, so which is quite respectable today.
And you happy with that?
Conditions were quite changeable. Yeah, it's not too bad. Could have done a little bit better, but yeah, it's okay.
Okay, and what are your main challenges out there on the track today? The weather's a bit changeable, isn't it?
I don't think it's going to rain. We just got to really push hard because there's a lot of guys around us today that are quick, comparable speed. So it'd be important not to get jumped at the start and just keep the head down and aim for the guys at the front, really.
So James, the last time I saw you was at Silverstone. Have you been to Spa as well?
Yeah, just got back from there Monday night, so yeah, straight back out again.
And were you racing solo out there as well?
No, I was with Alex Brundle. He's after the track time and he's very quick, so had a good race.
Brilliant. And today, is it just you?
Yeah, just me. I'm doing, well, everything.
What are the challenges that are going to be presented to you out on Oulton Park here today?
I think it should be straightforward. Obviously, I need to keep an eye on the SR8s because we're in the dry now. But beyond that, I just need to race my own race, concentrate on, making the turns, and hopefully that's all I'll need to do.
Yeah. Okay. And do you like the track?
Yes, I love it. It's fantastic. It's a really exciting, fast track. It's great fun.
So Anthony, you're out second here for race 1. Not qualifying in the best of positions.
Yeah, a bit of work to do, but we can only go forwards.
Absolutely, yeah, of course. And how did you do in qualifying yourself?
Not too bad. We were 5th, which was a little bit disappointing, but we weren't running new tyres, so I think that didn't help us a lot. We're only a 10th or so away from 4th place and about a second away from pole, so without new tyres, I'm reasonably happy at that.
I'm standing just ahead of the grid for the start of race 1 for the Radical UK Cup here at Oulton Park for 2011. David Thorburn is in pole. Let's see if he can keep that lead throughout the rest of the race.
Well, we had a very wet qualifying session this morning, which has given us the slightly unusual prospect of an SR3 Supersports car in pole position, with David Thorburn having put in a great drive in the wet conditions. Manhalalos should be alongside him on the front of the grid, but he's there at the rear of the pack. So we've got an empty space, second on the grid. Then we've got Derek Johnson, who lines up third with another of the Supersport cars. That's Mark Smithson in fourth. It's going to be a very exciting first lap in the dry conditions, as we expect the Masters cars, the SR8s, to pick their way up through the field. But David Thorburn, for the time being, is on pole. The red lights go, and away we go, with Thorburn taking the early advantage, but not for long, because it's Derek Johnson who streaks into Old Hall to claim the advantage as they make their way through the first turn of this 40-minute race. So it's Derek Johnson with the advantage, everybody cleanly through Old Hall, as David Thorburn in second place, but not for long. Roger Bromley also surges through in his V8 SR8. The Masters cars really have got so much power at the driver's disposal, and Roger Bromley using it to full effect at the moment as he tries to chase down the race leader Derek Johnson as they accelerate towards Ireland for the first time. Also moving up into third position at the back of the shot there was John Stanley. So 3 of the SR8s, perhaps as we predicted in the dry conditions, able to overhaul the SR3s. So it is Derek Johnson with the advantage from Roger Bromley. Then it's John Stanley. Then it's Mark Smithson who makes the move around the outside of David Thorburn. So into the lead the Supersport class goes Mark Smithson. So Smithson, brave move around the outside too. At Ireland, you don't see that so often. Then it's Gary Kane who's now taking his turn to pile the pressure onto David Thorburn as they go up over Hilltop for the first time. So we've got a spin towards the rear of the field. Hopefully he should recover, as under braking and locking up the brakes is Mark Smithson. He's determined to keep the class lead into his ease, which he actually manages to do, but he has got the rest of them getting up in his tail. And there is Manhalalos moving his way up the order, and he goes past David Thorburn and sets off in hot pursuit of Gary Kane back to the lead of the race. And it's still Derek Johnson who locks up his brakes into Lodge. And Derek Johnson, will he get the car turned in time? Yes, he will. Although that will give Roger Bromley plenty of encouragement that if he can get on the tail of Derek Johnson, then he'll be able to find his way through. Well, a pair of them head into Old Hall, and Bromley closes on the tail of Johnson in braking. And let's not discount John Stanley, but this is Manhalalos, who's already up into fourth position, having had to start at the rear of the grid when he was late out in the assembly area. He's already passed the Supersport leader Mark Smithson into fourth and driving like a man possessed. Although, to be honest, Van Halos really does that in every single race as he sets about his pursuit of John Stanley. John currently in third place, Halos in fourth. Then Mark Smithson trying to stay with them because that gives him a bit of a buffer over Gary Kane, who's second in the Supersport battle. And then we've got a superb fight between David Thornburn and James Abbott, with Abbott in the second of those cars turning through Shell, doing what he can to close in on David Thornburn. Thornburn, though, holding his line. He's going to make Abbott do it the hard way, which is to try and pick his way around the outside of him, which he cannot do into Britain's because it's really single file to that chicane. So instead, James Abbott trying to get the exit up over Hilltop. But David Thornburn, a wily competitor, prevails for the moment as John Stanley, well, instead of worrying about Roger Bromley through his visor, I think he's now going to have to turn his attention to his mirrors, because we've got Manhal Alos, who is really closing on his tail. So Alos looking to challenge John Stanley for third. Here come the leading duo out of Druids, and Roger Bromley, well, he is an ever-present shadow on the tail of Derek Johnson, and Johnson cannot afford to relax for a second because Bromley will be through. So up over Dearly go the leaders, about a car length between them as they come into Oulton. Again, Derek Johnson locking up his brakes. You can see just how hard he's pushing. In contrast, Roger Bromley, well, he was smoother on the way in, sliding on the way out, and he draws alongside, and this is possibly his best chance to race so far as they head towards Cascades. We've got another fantastic tussle that is being headed up by Jonathan Wright at the moment. So Wright in the number 9 machine has got several other cars for company, which is exactly the way we like to see it, with the car piloted by the brothers Jeremy and Andrew Ferguson. The next one through, a little bit lonely there, is John Lord in the 53 car, although he is doing everything he can to close up that battle, and he's, I think, beginning to make up some ground as we go back to the leading duo. And, well, Roger Bromley, every which way he looks, at the moment he sees Derek Johnson's number 88 car and he just can't find his way through. Well, the pair of them, this being a pit stop race, will be handing over to their co-pilots around the midway point. I think both of them being racing drivers will very much want to lead at the midway point of the race. Certainly Roger Bromley at the moment, you can just see him piling under pressure under braking, because that's where Bromley really seems to gain on Derek Johnson. Under braking, he's able to gain himself probably about a tenth or two, and again he gets an excellent run on Derek Johnson on the climb over Deer Leap, and Bromley really looking to inside Johnson. Puff of brake smoke again as he brakes into Oulton, and Bromley, it's a wonderful camera shot. You can just see how quickly the cars are going through Oulton as well. Tony Wells makes the move, and Tony Wells is going to gain the position going into Lodge. So this is a great move up through the field from Tony Wells as he moves himself up towards the front now of the Supersport battle. Those 4 cars, he's really been able to race his way through them. Leading duo as they were, which means there's absolutely nothing to choose between them, with again that gap coming down to about a third of a car length under braking to Britain's. Bromley using all the curb, Derek Johnson maybe being a little bit more circumspect. Roger Bromley would be well advised to remember it was raining this morning and that grass is very damp. If he gets one of those slick tyres on the grass, then he could find himself pitching out of control, whereas you can see Derek Johnson is just driving, well, I wouldn't say he's driving within himself, but he's steering well clear of the circuit boundaries, whereas Roger Bromley has absolutely no qualms about going up onto the curbs. Well, we're at the midway point of the race, which means the pit window is open, and James Abbott has still not found his way past David Thornburn, and he's been there for most of this race. So David Thornburn, well, we said he was good at having a stout defence, and so it's proving to be. Lean Joe, will they pit in this time? Absolutely nothing between them. They go up over Dearly and one more lap before they pit in. So this fantastic fight we've enjoyed since the very start of the race between Derek Johnson and Roger Bromley will continue to entertain the sizable crowd here at Oulton Park. As we head back to the Thornburn and Abbott battle, it's exactly as they were, and then this is really good from Tony Wells because he's pulling away from that gaggle of cars behind him. David Thornburn, plenty of pressure from James Abbott as we head down to Lucia in the pit lane.
So Garth, I know you're just about to go out for the second half of race 1, so be quick, but you've been racing for Radical in Australia, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I've come over here to represent Radical Australia and fly the flag for us Aussies.
Excellent, and you won their series out there last year, is that right?
I got given the prize for the series, yeah, to come over here and compete at Spa last weekend, which we did, and ended up coming second for the weekend. And then on the back of that, Phil Abbott from Radical Sports Cars has given me the opportunity to come here this weekend and race with him.
Brilliant, so he's your race partner today?
He is, and he's doing a great job.
How did you qualify for race 1?
We qualified 11th for race 1, so we're currently sitting in 10th. We'll see what we can do.
Okay, so you've made up one position. How do you think you're going to make up a few more?
Yeah, I think so.
The race leader's in, Derek Johnson pits in the 88 car. It's Terence Woodward who is behind the wheel and about to get into the fray. The mechanics just being here as the pit stop action continues apace. As Woodward looks far up and out to the pits he goes.
Yeah, we're in first position, but the pit stops mean everything. So if you do well on the first stint, you mess it up in the pit stop. But that was a good pit stop, so I'm very pleased with that.
Yeah, it did look pretty smooth. We've seen a few others that haven't been quite as easy as that.
No, it was pretty good actually. So we're happy. Now we just got to hang on to it.
I saw you in P2.
Yeah, that's the downside really. It should have been P1, but I did, as usual, a rubbish qualifying, down in P5. It was wet, so I give myself a bit of credit for that. Occasionally I'd make a mistake, which is part of the course for me, and then I'd give him a gap, and then I'd bring it back up. So Sam has just told me I got fastest lap in the stint, so that was nice.
Oh, amazing, well done.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
So Phil, you've just come in from the first half of race 1. How did it go?
Very good, very good. We didn't qualify particularly well, but we were trying to get some slick tyres going in the wet earlier. So it was a great race. Yeah, it was a good tussle at the back there with the Ferguson brothers. Very good.
And how was the track out there with the kind of changeable weather conditions?
It's fine now. It's dry. It's dry.
Well, let's see how the pit stops are shaking up the order, and the answer is that it's the 14 car that's gone into the lead. It's jumped the 88 machine in the pit, so it's now Sean Balfe, the wheel of number 14, who has overhauled the 88 car, which is now being driven by Terence Woodward, having taken over from Derek Johnson, with in third place Man Hallos, who is right there on the tail of Terence in third position, and he is going the distance all alone. So very exciting developments from the pit stops, and now Sean Balfe has got clear track in front of him. He will do what he can to pull away from Terence Woodward in the 88 machine, and Woodward has got plenty to worry about because Manhal Alos already looking to the inside, underbraking to his ease. Not quite an opportunity there, although Alos certainly making his intentions very clear. Well, Sean Balfe and Terence Woodward pretty evenly matched in terms of pace. We certainly saw their co-drivers were incredibly evenly matched in the first phase of the race, so this is going to be very exciting all the way to the flag, as over the yumps on the circuit and braking into Lodge go the three leaders. Terence Woodward trying to pull away from Manhalos at the same time, just trying to keep Sean Balfe in check. So through to complete another lap goes Sean Balfe as he turns through Oulton. Such a quick corner, Oulton, and the road really does tighten on the exit as well. But three perfect examples of how to drive it from the leading three drivers in the race as they go past one Supersport cars that kindly moves out of the way. Well, back to the Supersport battle, that's Ross Kaiser at the wheel of the 33 car as James Abbott, another of the drivers going all on his own, continues on his way late into the pits, and that has worked very much in his favour as we go down to Lucera in the pits with some dramatic news.
So as you can see behind me, car number 88 has had to come in quite soon into the second half of race 1. We're not sure exactly what the problem is there. We'll speak to Derek in a second. And we've also just learned that about 3 or 4 cars were going to have to come in for their penalty pit stop. So Terence, you were P2 and car number 88 is now sitting here beside us. What happened?
I just came through Druids on the previous lap and just lost all drive. I think something's gone wrong with the engine. It was a shame because it was a good race.
Do you think you'll be able to write it before race 2?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. The boys will sort it out one way or another.
Well, in for his stop go is the race leader Sean Balfe, and so that is going to promote Manhal Alos into the lead of the race. Also pitting in is James Swift. John Stanley is co-driver. You can see in the blue suit waving on his way as quickly as possible. So James Swift will have to live up to his name as he goes back into the fray, as this is the race leader Manhal Alos, who has avoided the pit stop dramas and has now got an empty circuit, and this is looking very nice for Manhal Alos, who is comfortably in the lead of the race with Sean Balfe after that stop go. He's into second position with James Swift and number 12 machine in third place, but Sean Balfe is going to have to go great guns if he's going to make any inroads into Manhal Alos, because before those pit stops we saw that it was Alos right on the tail of them. There is the leader of the Supersport class, and that's Stuart Mosley, having taken from Mark Smithson in the number 7 car. But out of Druids for the final time comes Manhal Alos. I think that James Abbott is going to get away without being lapped, so James is going to enjoy one more lap. He has done a superb job driving single-handedly as he goes over Deer Leap for the final time. Here comes the racing of Manhal Alos. The checkered flag goes out and Alos takes the win, and he is very delighted with that one. Superb drive from Manhal Alos. He avoided the pit lane drama. He was mixing it in the battle out on the track. Well, this is the driver in third place, James Swift. And so Swifty wasn't quite able to get on terms with Sean Balfe for the closing stages, but James Swift, over the line he goes, and he claims third position, slapping the Ferguson car on the line as through Lodge and up over Dearly for the last time goes Stuart Mosley, and it's Mosley and Mark Smithson. They claim the win in the Supersport class. Emphatic victory, and that was really set up by some great drive by Mark Smithson in the first part of the race, and then a superb stint from Stuart Mosley to build that advantage. But on the podium, it's all smiles and the bubbly. 3 very happy driver combinations.
Manhal, huge congratulations. First place for race 1. How are you feeling?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I feel great. It's my first proper win, so I'm very happy about that.
Excellent. And it was all on your own as well?
Yes, I race on my own. I don't have a racing partner. I enjoy 45 minutes in the car. I don't want to do 18 minutes and then have to come off.
Yeah, it's a lot more exciting. How did you find the track?
The track was great. I had to start from the back of the grid because of something I did on the warm-up lap. Apparently I should have taken a shortcut, which I didn't. So they started me from the back of the grid.
The very back?
The very back, the last.
And you made it to first place?
And somehow I made it to first place. They made my race much more exciting, so I'm just going to go and get told off by them and thank them very much for making my race more exciting.
I started 10th, so not a good start, but got to 4th by corner 1, had a fantastic start. Managed to then get Manhal and got into 3rd. Fended Manhal off for about 7 laps, which is not an easy thing to do. And
how did he get past you?
Well, yeah, I think the commentator got it right. The commentator said I was caught napping, and I was. I'd covered it every lap. Going down into the hairpin at the back on the back straight, he actually came through semi-sideways, but held it up, got through, and then in fairness pulled away.
Well, it's almost time for race 2 of the Radical UK Cup. Manhal Alice was the winner for race 1, but as you can see behind me, Roger Bromley and Sean Balfe have pole for this one, and behind them you can see that James Swift and John Stanley are in second place, who were also on the podium this morning. So anything could happen, as we've seen throughout the day here today with Radical Racing, and we're looking forward to another exciting race. Hi Sean, pole position here for race 2. It's good start.
Yeah, it's the best place to be, so I can't grumble there, but just spitting with rain now, so that's got me attention.
And have you got the right kind of tyres on for the wet?
Definitely not. Everybody's going to go with slick, so it's just spitting, blowing around in the air, not enough to warrant changing tyres.
Okay, and obviously you just pipped to the post this morning for race 1, so hopefully you'll manage to keep the lead this time.
Well, that's certainly the plan. I'll be trying as hard as I can, so fingers crossed.
James, P2, and you were on the podium this morning, so it hasn't been a bad day so far.
No, quite good so far. Hopefully we can go up a step and carry on our position, and I reckon if we can get P2 today, that'll be a good result.
Have you got a plan of attack with regards to Sean here in P1?
You have a few things go through your mind, but I would like to think that as long as me and Sean don't make contact at the first corner, we could probably run away a little bit if we don't hamper each other, so hopefully that's what will happen.
Hi Manhal.
Hi.
We saw you a little while ago on the podium. You're in 3rd here. What's your plan of attack?
To be patient in the beginning, and I've got a time penalty advantage on these guys at the pit stop. So if I keep my head, stay within 10 seconds, then hopefully I'll overtake them at the pit stop.
Brilliant stuff. Good plan. And we can see there's a little bit of rain in the air at the moment. Are you concerned about that at all?
I'd be extremely happy if it chucks it down. I like the rain. I enjoy it.
The UK Cup Radicals are heading into their green flag lap and then onto their rolling start. It'd be interesting to see what happens with the top 3. It was really changeable in the last race. So let's see who's going to come out on top this time.
Well, the car's off on their formation lap, and we've got a very evenly matched front of the field with Sean Balfe on pole position, having out-qualified James Swift by under 0.2 of a second in qualifying this morning. So I think we can expect to see plenty of action as this second race today from the UK Cup about to get underway. The leading quartet up to the line, the red lights on at the moment. The red lights go out now and away we go. This is a good start from Sean Balfe on the inside, also looking to make rapid progress to Terence Woodward as he challenges Manhal Alice. Everybody cleanly through, which is what you want to see, as leads already streaking through Denton's and then down the avenue and on towards Cascades. and then already in towards Ireland, and Sean Bell setting an electrifying pace ahead of the field. And he really is charging, trying to break away from James Swift, who in turn has got Matt Alos for company, and Alos is not really particularly alone either, because he has got on his tail Terence Woodward, so leading quartet running very closely. And then it is Rob Weldon who is there in 5th position, and Rob Weldon also leading the Supersport class, and Rob trying to build a little bit of a buffer over the rest of those Supersport drivers, although they are incredibly evenly matched as well from qualifying this morning. So leading quartet breaking into Hizzies, and then here comes Supersport battle with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I lost count after that. Cars running very much in a train, with Rob Weldon heading up that fight. That's Anthony Dunn. He's chasing James Littlejohn in the 35 car. Littlejohn, the ex-Formula Ford racer. Anthony Dunn, vastly experienced campaigner, particularly in radicals and also the speed sports prototypes. So Dunn chasing Littlejohn in the midfield, as back to the head of the race, and Sean Balfe coming under all sorts of pressure from James Swift. And Balfe really having to go defensive into Oulton. It's a great shot. You can see the whites of James Swift's eyes as he turns into Oulton, so concentrated on chasing down Sean Balfe, and the pair of them just begin to move away from Manhal Alos into Ireland, the quickest corner on this Oulton Park circuit, the left-hander that then brings them into the braking zone for the banked Shell hairpin. And again, James Swift really begin to pile the pressure on to Sean Balfe here. Very little to choose between them as they run towards Britain's. Not an overtaking opportunity, but if James Swift can get a good exit from Britain's over Hilltop, then breaking into Hizzies is very much an opportunity where he can snatch the lead away from Sean Balfe. He'll be able to do it this time, where they climb up over Hilltop. Already Balfe moving away from the edge of the circuit towards the middle, trying to cover the line from James Swift. Swift at the moment is not able to make his way through in the Domino's Pizzas back machine as he chases down Sean Balfe, having a very fine view of Sean's rear wing. It's pretty much exactly as we were in race 1, just slightly reversed. Well, James Abbott continuing on his way. He is coming under a lot of pressure there from the number 5 car of Nathan Lindop and Ian Forsyth as we go back to the leaders, and it's still just Sean Balfe from Swift, but you can see Swift getting the power sooner out of Lodge, and then Balfe having to go defensive as they went over the start line, and then under braking to Oulton again. James Swift not able to find his way through, but thrilling action from the 2 leaders. You can see from the body language of the car, they are absolutely on the limit. Back to the midfield Supersport tussles, it's still James Abbott who's just got that friendly advantage. A bit of a slide there, but he safely makes it through Oulton and back into pursuit of James Abbott. Leading duo out of the Shell hairpin on towards Britain's. But we saw last time around that Balfe was concerned enough about James Swift's run over Hilltop to go defensive into Hizzies. We have to do the same again, because that's an excellent exit from Swift. Already Swift setting up on the inside, and James Swift looking to the inside. Sean Balfe chops across, leaving in no uncertain terms. There's no way through there for James Swift. So Swift, if he's going to make that move stick, he's going to have to set up a little bit earlier. And as the pair of them fight, it's just beginning to bring Manhal Alos back into play. So up over Clay Hill, and that's not really an opportunity to. Out of Druids they come. And for the moment, Sean Balfe has got an advantage over James Swift. It's 2 car lengths, but it's more than he's had since the start of the race, as we've got some spots of rain beginning to appear on the camera lens. Let's hope that that develops into nothing too ominous as they streak through into another lap. Balfe and Swift pushing to the very limit. Manhal Alos. And then we have got Stuart Mosley moving to the inside of Anthony Dunn, and Dunn moves across. That was close, as Stuart Mosley trying to find his way through, but to absolutely no joy. It's Bradley Ellis as well who is in amongst that particular tussle, and also Tom Woods in the 33 machine. So great fight going on for Supersport Oulton, although Rob Weldon is who is leading at the moment from Bradley Ellis in 2nd place. Then in 3rd it's the 33 car of Tom Woods, and then we've got the Anthony Dunn fight, and Dunn has just managed to hold off Stuart Mosley first. So Anthony Dunn past the 7 car, and then it's James Littlejohn in the white 35 car at the back of that train. And more spots on the camera lens, and look to the sky as well. It's the same colours from Metallica fans' bedroom wall, in that it's completely black as they head on to Hizzies. And still at the head of the field, James Swift cannot find his way past Sean Balfe. There's nothing he can do, although the slippery track may just play into the hands of one driver or the other. Well, looking on the run towards Lodge this time, any spots for him have been cleared from the lens, and the track looks dry as well. So we've got rain falling out on the far side of the circuit on the run from Britain's to Hizzies, but up here at Lodge, which is up the hill really. It's looking relatively dry as Rob Weldon continues to lead the Supersport class from Bradley Ellis, and then it's Anthony Dunn, Stuart Mosley battle, enjoying that one. And yes, some more spots of rain as we track them through Lodge, so very challenging and variable conditions for these drivers. Still the Supersport battle continues, and still Anthony Dunn moving every which way on the circuit, keeping Stuart Mosley at bay, and then James Littlejohn keeping tabs with them. Thrilling fight, although Rob Weldon, Bradley Ellis, Tom Woods, they don't need to worry about it so much. It's the fight for fourth in the Supersports class. The British Racing green colour car of Anthony Dunn, and then the blue and black car of Stuart Mosley. And Mosley again trying to pressurise Anthony Dunn into an error, although Anthony, vastly experienced racer, I'm sure he's quite going to fall for that trick into Shell, so he just holds his line. As we go side by side to lead into Hizzies, and this time Swift tries around the outside of Sean Balfe, and Swift turns across, he takes lead the race, so James Swift, after several laps of trying into Hislops, finally makes it stick, so James Swift goes into lead the race. Sean Balfe demoted into second place. Now will James Swift be able to pull away from Sean Balfe? Let's see as they come out of Druids, and we've got Malhalos who remains in third position. That was a brave move from James Swift to take the lead around the outside into the chicane at Hislops as they climb up over Dearly once more. And with the track beginning to get a little bit tricky, well, it's not an ideal position actually for James Swift to be in, because if the track has got damper as the pit window opens, as they go into this lap, as the track has got damper, then any particularly wet patches, James Swift will be the first to find them. We're going to see any of the Supersport cars peeling into the pits. No, they're going to continue on for another lap. I suspect we'll see the pit stop starting towards the end of next lap, although with this rain beginning to fall, pit stop strategy is going to be key, because it will be a judgment. How late do they stay out, and when they pit in, will they gamble on wets, banking on the rain coming down? Well, into the pit lane comes the second place man, Sean Balfe. So Balfe pits in, he's going to hand over to Roger Bromley. That's at the far end of the pit lane. At the near end of the pit lane, into the pits comes our race leader, James Swift. You can see John Stanley poised and ready to get in, so James hopping out of the car, John giving him a helping hand. John's seat insert goes in. John will be the next man in as we hand down to Lucia in the pit lane.
So James, amazing start to race 2 there for you. How did you get ahead of Sean?
I just got a run on him into Nickelbrook, and then managed to go around the outside, and I felt I just had a bit more pace, and I thought maybe me in front we might pull each other along, which was pretty much mine and Sean's intentions really. So pretty much what I said to you in the pit lane happened really.
Well, the race going exactly as James Swift predicted, as John Stanley, his driving partner, heads back into the race. Well, we're now at the tail end of the pit window, and look at the rain coming down. This is one of the last cars pitting, the 70 car of Rob Weldon's. Hanging out to David Thornburn, also late in is James Abbott, and you can see that those who have gambled and stayed out later, the track is now wet enough for the wet tyres. This could really throw the race on its head in the closing stages as James Abbott takes back on to the circuit. Let's see what he can do on the wet tyres, and look at the rain coming down, and this is playing ideally into the hands of David Thornburn. He set pole position for race 1 on wet tyres earlier, and he is carving through the field as Timothy Lyons has a bit of a moment through the gravel trap at Lodge. That will do no harm whatsoever as Derek Johnson in the 88 car looks to move his way up through the order. That car was 4th at the start of the pit stops, but with the number 70 car of David Thornburn pitting so late, he has been shuffled down the order a little bit as he is now in amongst some Supersport cars. He's looking to put a lap on the Fergusons. Number 46 car, is he going to be able to do that into Britain's? No, he's not. These track conditions so treacherous, and most of these drivers, including the 46 car, on slick tyres, they're just finding absolutely no traction. They should get back into the race. Well, pulling away, and back into the race goes the 46 car, shared by the brothers Jeremy and Andrew Ferguson, as not having any problems at all in his wets is David Thornburn. He is setting some very quick lap times as the red flags come out. So the red flags are out. We're over half race distance. That will give us a result, but the results will be taken back a lap eventually, which takes us into the pit stop window. In the meantime, on the road, it's Manhalalos who has been provisionally awarded the victory from James Swift and John Stanley, then Sean Balfe and Roger Bromley. However, after the race, the results were taken back a lap, and that took us into the pit stop window with David Thornburn and Rob Weldon claiming a sensational victory, winning the race overall together with the Supersport class. So that bumped Manhalalos down into second place, with the podium being rounded out by John Stanley and James Swift.
Well, that concludes the UK Cup here today at Oulton Park. And we hope that you'll be joining us again next time at Brands Hatch. We'll see you there.